I was thinking today, right, grown-ups. What does the word or the term grown-up even mean? Someone that's more grown than you are because of their age. And that's why children, I'm going up a hill right now. That's why children call adults grown-ups, because naturally they think because someone is bigger than me, they know more, they know better, when in reality I personally believe age is just an illusion, and we are all learning from each other despite our ages, because it doesn't have to be through teaching necessarily or telling someone something in order for them to understand it. It can be realizations, it can be experiences and things that you go through or realize in life through just observation. And that's your biggest teacher in life. This is why kids are so present in the moment. They're so much more aware than we are. Yeah, baby. My favourite place in the world. There's cow poo everywhere because there has been cows here, and they are still here actually. They're just off somewhere wandering, probably eating grass and mushrooms, just grazing everything they can possibly. The skies look so beautiful. Clear skies, absolutely stunning. I personally find it insane, for example, how kids are constantly told what to do and how to behave by grown-ups. Children, young children as well, being put on development plans and behavioural charts and all sorts of things to get that child's behaviour to be the way they want to. But what we tend to forget as we grow older and obviously come out of school and come out of all these plans and things, and is that we forget our own behaviour and how we are as adults around young children, because children are like sponges, right? They absorb everything around them, and if you're not correct as a grown up and as an adult, and if you're not behaving correctly, then that child is going to mirror your behaviour. And that's exactly what happens in school as well, when kids absorb other kids' behaviours because they're around them all the time, right? It's the same thing. I personally believe it's the grown-ups that need to be put on development plans and behavioural charts, and be put in certain classes even, to tell them how to behave and how to be better human beings and how to be a better inspiration and example to that little child that they're trying to teach and tell them what's right and what's wrong. The amount of parents as well and grown-ups that tell children, for example, off for swearing, they tell them off for swearing, right? And then when that adult actually swears in front of that kid because they can't control themselves, the kid will then look at the parent like, oh, mummy or daddy, that's a bad word. You shouldn't be swearing. And this is exactly what I mean. Kids are so much more aware than we are. They actually know better than we do. We are the ones that forget when we get older. We think we are the ones that forget, to be fair. The older we get, we automatically and naturally think we know everything now, and like we don't need to learn anymore and we don't need to better ourselves anymore, and that's it now. You know, I've passed the kid stage, and we forget. And kids are there to constantly remind us, if we pay enough attention, of actually how shitty we are in day-to-day life as grown-ups and as adults, and how aware and well-behaved they are, considering they're all so new to life and they barely know as much as we know, right? And we think we know everything, and we think we've got it now all figured out and everything, and I don't need to learn anymore, I don't need to better myself or change myself, because that's it now. I've reached the God stage where, yeah, this is me and I don't need to do anything more about it. But what we tend to forget as we get older is that we're constantly learning, right? We're constantly changing, we're constantly transforming. There is never a stage in life where you reach an end goal. This is why it's called a journey, because it's just ongoing. There is never a stop. There is never a point where you stop and you're just like, okay, that's it now. You know, I've reached my point and happily ever after. It's just a myth. It's an ongoing journey, and you're constantly learning in life. And when you open yourself to absolutely everything around you, right? Everything. And let that ego, because ego is dangerous, right? Like when we take the ego off and let everything around us be our greatest teacher, we start to then learn from young children who we think that they don't know anything, children who we look down upon, and we let the ego again step in, and we don't listen to them. We don't listen to what they're trying to say or what they're trying to show us or what they're trying to teach us, because we think we know better, when in reality kids actually know more, because they're so much more aware and present in the moment than we are grown-ups. We're constantly stuck in our heads, one way or another, constantly in our heads. This was actually a game changer for me when I started to open my mind to everything around me and let everything teach me something, and not think that I know better, and not think that my way is the way. It's allowed me to learn so much more from everything around me than I could have ever imagined anything else could teach me or a book could teach me, because observation is the greatest way to learn everything. That's what I believe. Observation is the greatest teacher, and if you're aware enough, if you're present enough, if you're paying enough attention, everything around you is literally teaching you something, especially if you have little children and young kids, because these tiny people, I'm going to call them tiny people going forward now rather than children or kids, because really they're just people just like us, but in tiny bodies, man. And if you have these little blessings around and you pay enough attention to them and observe them, they teach you so much about life that no book in the world could ever teach you. Literally, they teach you everything. And this is what I mean. I feel like tiny people have it all figured out more than we do as adults, because the older we get, the more we forget, right? And we're all so programmed into forgetting rather than remembering. But another game changer for me was when I started remembering and tried my best to stop forgetting, you know, because we're constantly forgetting the things we learn as adults, whereas children, you tell them one piece of information, yeah, they'll stick for life. That's it. They know it now. And this is what I'm saying. Children, tiny people have it more figured out than us adults. When I go into places with people around and stuff, and I'm there like observing everything, right, listening to everyone's conversation around me, this is exactly my point. I think adults need these classes on how to behave better and be better human beings, and be told how to behave better in public especially, and around other people and around females and young children, than kids are being told these days. Adults should be put on development plans and behavioral charts and given stickers, you know, when they do something good and when they behave better. And just by behaving better as an adult, you automatically reflect a really good example onto that child, right? Because real change starts from within. And if you want things around you to change as well, then you need to start with yourself, right? I need to change my behavior in order for me to see change in my child's behavior, right? I need to be a better person in life generally and be a good example to her, so that she can absorb all that from me just by observing me, right? Without me having to tell her this is what you should do and this is what you should, when I'm being a hypocrite and not even doing these things. Because it's true, like, we're all telling kids constantly what to do, yeah, when in reality we are the biggest hypocrites. And swearing is one of those things that like really show how much hypocrisy there is in us, mankind, and human beings in general. We tell kids not to swear, and then we swear around them all the time, and they're like, why are you telling me not to do it when you're doing it? I read a quote that said the most universal pieces of advice from all cultures and eras is that we are all hypocrites, us mankind. And I personally think this is the truest thing I've ever read in my life, because we are, including me. We are all hypocrites. We're constantly expecting people, for example, to behave a certain way when we're not behaving like that. And real change starts from within, right? Because our internal, whatever is going in our internal, is exactly what is reflecting in our reality, right? It's like the mirror constantly reflecting what's inside of you. Your reality is reflecting what's inside of you. It's like looking into a mirror. So if you want to see some sort of change in your children's behavior, try change your own. If I want to see a change in my daughter's behavior, I need to change my own. I need to become the person that I want her to be. You know, I become the person that I want her to be, and this is exactly how it's going to go. What's inside of me and the way I'm acting is what's reflecting in my reality. And the older we get as grown-ups and as adults, generally, the more we forget as well that we are all just hypocrites. We're a bunch of hypocrites, man. A bunch of hypocrites. And this is why I believe before telling a child to change the way they are or change their behavior or stop doing what they're doing, change your own first, change your own behavior first, and then see what happens then. It's literally the same story when a baby or a child, right? A big child is crying and screaming, bless them, and throwing a tantrum, and they're really upset, right? And then the adult starts getting really upset as well, and then they start screaming and shouting and throwing a tantrum the same way that child is doing it. So when you do that around a child and you tell them to shut up and you tell them to be quiet and you tell them to stop, you're literally no different to them, because you're mirroring the same behavior that child is doing right now. You're literally reflecting the same behavior but in adult form, but it's the exact same thing. And then you expect them to stop and expect them to look at you and think, okay, I'm going to stop crying and screaming now and let you cry and scream. It's honestly not a way of teaching a child to stop doing something at all when you're doing it yourself, right? And this is exactly the reason why children don't really understand when you tell them to stop or tell them to shut up or tell them to behave, because they don't even understand what that is. Children learn through observing rather than telling. I'll say it again. Children learn through observing and absorbing rather than telling. This is the reason why I believe in not telling a child what to do or how to behave or how to be, and just let them. It's literally a matter of understanding them and reflecting how you want them to be around them, because children are learning from you, right? They're looking at you as their inspiration in life. So you need to reflect the behaviors and the things that you want them to do in life also, rather than telling them what to do and how to behave, because we don't work like that as human beings, right? We don't work like that. Even adults, there's so many songs on about don't tell me what to do and how dare you and go away and I'm not going to listen to you anyways, and there's so many songs in that respect, right? So if we adults cannot take someone else telling us what to do, you can't expect a child to do the same. And it's all about compassion, right? It's all about understanding. It's all about love. It's all about being gentle. It's all about reflecting the right behaviors around them as well, and not telling them one thing and then doing the opposite to it, because then you're a hypocrite in their eyes. And children are not stupid, okay? Children understand everything. Children know everything that is going on around them. They know when someone is being a hypocrite as well, because they're learning through observation yet again, and it's the best way to learn, through observing. I'm learning and I'm still learning. And I'm so grateful for the fact that I had a baby and had a daughter, and she's teaching me so much already. She's only 4, and I've learned so much that I could literally write a book about the things that I've learned in life just through observing her, because she's yet again the one that taught me how to observe, because I've been observing her a lot, and then it made me want to get into observing even more and really observe everything around me, because that's how she's learning, right? And this is how I'm learning as well, through her and through everything around me. And yeah, life is good, baby.